Rama 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 Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. In the evening atmosphere, the worshipful atmosphere, we have all been able to sing the auspicious, divine, powerful name of Bhagwan. And that together we have offered these Nama flowers at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Before we submit our today's prayer, we shall go through a question that has been put to me by a person he was asking, you are saying repeatedly that the world is full of happiness, bliss, whereas here there are people like me who are very frustrated, very vexed with life, the way it is. And there is so much misery around. How can anybody admit, how can anybody even bring themselves to say that all is well? I would like to debate with God. He should come and answer my questions. The question is justified in the sense, the way the world is full of misery, and still there is so much suffering left. And the world has not come to normalcy. And there is still panic in the hearts of people that any time the third wave can come and cause havoc. Now, how do we reconcile the two statements? The one who said that there is only God everywhere, there is only blessing, everything happens only by God's grace, everything happens only by God's will, and whatever happens is perfect. The questioner is asking, how can you say whatever happens is perfect? Now that's because we have a definite definition for perfection. Now let's think this way. You start climbing up the Arunachala mountain. You go to the peak, and look from there, the township, the place that is called Tiruvannamalai, you would begin to see how they all look alike. Very difficult to make out the differences down there. But as soon as you get down the mountain to the foothills, you begin to observe that a tree, one tree is tall, the other tree is short, one man is dark, the other one is fair, and there is a child. There are differences and differences and differences. Those differences dissolve when you go up to the peak and look from there. It's a question of perception. Now, these great masters who have destroyed their sense of individuality, they are cosmic beings, and they look from their state where God alone exists. How many times our Bhagwan has said, Father alone exists, there is nothing else, no one else. And sometimes he would say, I alone exist. I am the cosmic controller. I run the whole cosmos. So from his point of view, from the point of view of the great masters who have become one with God, who are in constant communion with God, all the differences vanish and they see only the invisible divine behind every creature, everything in the world. They live in that state. It's like when you wear a green glass, you begin to see everything green. So the perception completely changes. There are truths and truths. They are called relative truths. And there is one truth, the ultimate truth, the only truth, according to the great Jnanis, and that is the ultimate state, that is the absolute truth. So the absolute truth is ever the same, that is only one, but the relative truths are relative and can differ from person to person, from world to world. So here, how can you tell a 5th class student? How can you explain a 5th class student the lessons that you learned only in the 12th standard? How can you explain to a 12th class student the lessons that you learned in your master's classes? So you see, it depends upon the maturity. It depends upon your capacity to understand, and that differs from person to person. So at our level, where the ego is playing its role from moment to moment to moment, I have a very strong sense of individuality. I am so and so. I'm a woman, I'm a man. Now at this point, there is misery, nothing seems to be perfect, chaos, disharmony. And so, unhappiness. That's because I'm a limited being, at least I think so. It is in my state of ignorance, I think I'm a very limited individual, and in my perception, there is no perfection. But as we evolve spiritually, as our heart becomes more and more pure, as we go through transformation, you will slowly begin to see the background, the substratum behind all these relative truths. You will begin to see the one divinity taking all the forms that exist, all life that exists. And so, it's only when we reach that level we would understand the statement of Bhagwan. At their level, there is no such thing as evil at all. Because everything is played by God. Everything happens by the will of God. And whatever happens is perfect, and whatever happens is a blessing. So you see, everything will depend upon our state of perception. If you take a line, and if the line happens to see itself in a mirror, it would think the line that appears in the mirror is another line. It would not know that it is its own reflection. If it makes its guttural sound, now it's going to be reflected in the mirror, and the line would think the other one is going to pounce upon it any moment. And so, this line would pounce upon the mirror, thinking there is another line there. A dog, you take any animal, the level of perception for an animal is different. Now, when you stand before the mirror, it's your own reflection, and you know it. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, you have no quarrel with it, because you know it is you. Now, a jnani, when he stands before this mirror, no matter how many people appear in this, he would see only himself. His state of perception is completely different, because he sees himself in every form. So even though different forms appear in the mirror, because different people are standing there, he would see only the divine in all these forms. Why? He is existing at that level. It's his living experience. At our level, it's always a struggle. They say that initially, the Puranic times, the Devas were there on the one side, and the Rakshas, the Asuras, the wicked people. They were always planning wicked things. They had only evil thoughts, and they were after power. And they found their happiness only in the suffering of others. The Devas had some special powers. They are evolved souls, but not to perfection. They also have their desires, anger. They may not have hunger or aging, but still they have desires. But they have only blessings to give. And there would be constant war between the two, seeking power. The Devas also, they also want power. They have desires. But then, when you come down to Dwapara Yuga, you see in the same family, the cousins, among the cousins, there is war. On the one side, Pandavas, the other side, the Kauravas. The Pandavas' number is only 5. The Kauravas, 100. Always when you look at this, the evil, it seems to be more powerful. Just as Maya is more powerful. Sometimes, many times, a situation creates itself and then we feel that Maya is more powerful than God. How many of us, how many times have felt it? So here, in Dwapara Yuga, previously there were 2 different groups altogether, not related to each other. But then, in Dwapara Yuga, the same family. Now in Kali Yuga, in the same mind, we have evil thoughts, we have good thoughts, and all thoughts occur in the same mind. Each day, for each one, there is a struggle. In some situation or the other, there will be a struggle between both the natures. There are temptations. And so, the greed for power, the greed for money, the greed for name would multiply, would create evil thoughts, and they are more in number. Everybody knows how there is a struggle in their mind. Not a single one is an exception. So you see, as long as these differences exist, as long as we have the ego, a very active ego at that, we will definitely see the differences, and there will be misery. There will be agony and ecstasy. There will be victory and failure. There will be pairs of opposites. So at our level, where the ego is functioning all the time, he is right, one feels frustrated, one feels miserable, and one cannot see perfection at all. But then, as we progress spiritually, it takes a lot of hard work. Even in this world, if you want to achieve something, you must have determination, you must have perseverance, and you must do hard work. Without hard work, determination, perseverance, how can you achieve anything at all? Even in this world. Even when you go to a bank to take some money, you know what it is. You have to wait in a queue, depend upon so many people. Everything has a price. So the only answer is we have to evolve. We have to go from 5th standard to 6th, 6th to 7th, and to the school final, and then to the college level, and then to the master's level, and then the PhD. No matter how many times I tell you that sugar is sweet, how will you know unless you eat it? Only the experience can teach us. So here we understand that it's because of the ego so many differences appear to us, and we are unable to believe what the great masters say. Now, Bhagwan used to say, there is only darkness inside. When you close your eyes and sit for meditation, initially, there will be only darkness. Why? Because our mind is filled with all these negativities. Fear, anger, grief, jealousy, desire after desire after desire for one thing or the other. So there is darkness. Or Bhagwan says, you light the lamp of Nama on your tongue. and keep it burning, the Nama Deepa. And then it will throw light inside, and the darkness will slowly vanish. So this is our Bhagwan's solution. If we want all the differences to go, if we want to see only perfection, if we want to be happy all the time, didn't Bhagwan say, if you want to be happy in life, you have to make God happy. To make God happy is to chant His name. So our Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar says, light the Nama Deepa on your tongue so that your inside is well lighted. When you enter a dark room, no matter how many things are there, you wouldn't be able to make out what things are there. But the minute you switch on the light, you know instantly what is what and where is it. Like this, if there is inner light, if we get purity, if we get transformed, purified, there will be light inside, and in the light of the divine, we would be able to see how these differences dissolve, leaving only God behind. So the first thing that has been given to us by Bhagwan is to light the Nama Deepa on our tongue. And then Bhagwan says, it is people in the state of nirvana, the ultimate ananda, where there is only perfection, where there is only ananda, which is called the state of nirvana. It's a state of bliss. It's a state of fullness. Now, until you come to this state of nirvana, there will be differences, there will be misery and happiness, victory and failure. So what should you do? If you cannot attain nirvana yourself, you have to serve the people who have attained nirvana, who live in the state of bliss all the time. You do seva to them. Not everybody gets a chance to stay near the Guru and serve. So what do? Wherever we live, whether we are grihasthas, householders, or sannyasin, it doesn't matter, whatever work falls into our hand, let us do it as an offering to our Guru, as an offering to God. Then it becomes Guru Seva, Deva Seva, and Daivik Seva. So this would start purifying us. So chanting the name and doing the work for the sake of the Guru or God would definitely purify us, would take us to the state of nirvana. Bhagwan says, if you start doing everything as a seva to your Guru, the Guru will take you there in no time. You just have to do the seva and keep chanting the name. The Guru will do the rest. Everything will be done by the Guru for you, and he would take you easily to that state of nirvana. Then you will see how everything is perfect, how it is God's plan, and how the plan is working perfectly. And in what sense they say it is all perfection. So let's remember our Bhagwan's advice. First, let us purify ourselves to the extent possible in the circumstances by chanting the name and going about our daily life as an offering to our Guru or God. Let us help others as much as we can without any expectations, as an offering to Guru or God. As we evolve slowly, gradually, then we see how all these differences gradually vanish. And finally, we come to the state of perfection, the state of bliss, and you would know instantly how it is. So we should not mix up the states of perception. All we can do at the moment is try to purify ourselves by chanting the name and doing seva to the Guru.